Teddy, congratulations. A 25% pop. How do you feel? Was it exceeding your expectations, in line with expectations?
Well, I think we're going in this not so much about focusing on what's the pop on the first day, right? I think the focus remains that now that we are a listed company, we will have to use this proceed and enhance the growth of the company and continue our charge practically to roll out our strategy to tap into the 270 million population of Indonesia, helping all these MSME, over 7 million mom and pop kiosks that we connected to do their business better, to be able to sell more product, to be able to kind of sell more volume and on multiple sales channels.
How will you do that exactly? Because some are already saying that, you know what, your valuations are way too high given your market share, which is you're the #3 player in the country.
Yeah, I think there's 2 points to that, right? The first one is I think a lot of people kind of look at us on a very conventional method, i.e. just looking at it from the e-commerce space, which is Bukalapak.com. But in reality, even today, more than half of our business are actually contributed by the Mitra. So when you looked at this Bukalapak.com traffic and numbers, you are really just looking at one out of the many sales channel, many platforms that we have. Today, we have 3 different marketplace platforms. We do have Itemku, we do have B-Money, but most importantly, the Mitra Bukalapak itself is representing a big chunk of the business, which if you just track, I guess, the more conventional matrix on the traffic and what's not out of the Bukalapak.com apps, they are not capturing more than half of our business.
Right now, we're looking at Bukalapak being an e-commerce player, but it has said before it wants to be a complete commerce player. How do you get there? What will your offerings be?
Yeah, so we looked at ourselves more as a what we call all-commerce player, because at the end of the day, you know, everybody talks about Indonesia, 270 million population, emergence of middle segment, right? But I think a lot of people forgot that, you know, essentially out of this 270 million population, it's only about 30, 40 million that live within the tier 1 cities. Where we are, 70% of our business are actually contributed today from outside tier 1 city of Indonesia. 70% of that business, well, the e-commerce market today in Indonesia, 70% are focusing on the tier 1 segment, right? So tier 1 cities. So the way we kind of roll it out is by having this collaboration between the online and the offline, tapping into the existing MSME of Indonesia, having over 7 million mom and pop kiosks to address for a lot of the frictions, which most notably, for example, financial inclusion, right? To allow people who doesn't have credit cards, who doesn't have digital banking, to be able to transact, yet at the same time,
right,
goes through this mom and pop kiosk to pay through cash.
Teddy, you're currently trading, or rather Bukalapak is trading on the IDX Development Index. When do you see Bukalapak trading on the main index?
Well, I think, you know, in order to get to the main board, the company needs obviously to be profitable by the current regulations, unless that is changed. So we're hopeful that we are currently has been tracking pretty well in our path to profitability. You can see our number, obviously, you know, in terms of our EBITDA and what's not, it has been tracking on the right directions. So we are hopeful that in the near term that we will be able to cross that line.
Put a time frame for us, Teddy. When do you expect to be profitable? Because that's key.
It is, but mind you, let me put a disclaimer. This is also a very dynamic industry, right? I think internally we do hope that it should be within a very foreseeable future in the less than 36 months or so, hopefully.
Cool, that's cool to know. And how about the inclusion into the MSCI index? When do you think that can happen?
Well, I don't know the exact answer for that. Obviously, that is within the forte of MSCI to kind of do that. I think from our side, what we can do today is to ensure that we are ticking all the boxes that are required. We believe that we're on track to kind of have all these boxes ticked. But again, you know, the final decision that is within the MSCI rather than us.
The goal has always been a dual listing. Now that it's done in Indonesia, when do you see a listing in the US? And, you know, will that be a traditional IPO via a SPAC? What can you tell us?
Well, I think, you know, one thing for us is, at least for me, I probably want to kind of, you know, do a bit of a more pragmatic approach, right? I think this IPO has been exceeding our expectation. We're very proud of what the team has done, obviously past and present. I think in regards to the future strategy and future corporate actions, I think what we need to do now is really put our head down together, deliver the number operationally. Now we are a public company. Obviously, it is very important. Now we receive a obviously we have the fiduciary duty to all this public investor that has been putting their faith on us to make sure that we are delivering that performance, and then we'll see from there on.
Teddy, throughout our shows, we've been talking about China's clampdown on big tech. Given the ongoing concerns, do you see perhaps Indonesian tech unicorns getting more interest from foreign investors?
Well, I think from my side, we just looked at it more from what we know. Obviously, I'm not very well versed of the China tech, but I think if you looked at the Indonesia, it does, it offers a lot of potential. Penetration are still very, very low. There's practically a blue ocean potential of Indonesia. As I said before, even in e-commerce business itself, there are about 230 million people that are relatively still underserved. There are a lot of MSME that are available out there that we can help them to kind of enhance their business. And as they are doing better, obviously we are doing better. That's the structure of the business, right? And I think when it comes to regulatory-wise, what I can tell is that in Indonesia, the government are very, very supportive to the development of technology. And that's rational because you do have 270 million people scattered on vast amount of islands across Indonesia. So a lot of the solution to the problem rested upon tech. And the government has actually been very, very supportive of the tech development in this country.
Just one final question before I let you go, Teddy. I mean, currently about half a dozen unicorns in Indonesia. Given the great support from the government, given the positive regulatory environment, 12, 24 months down the road, how many unicorns do you see?
Well, I don't know how many unicorns I see, but I do hope that what we have achieved here becomes an example for a lot of the other tech company in Indonesia to consider IDX, obviously, as the domestic listing venue for a lot of this company to tap into the public space.